Have you ever noticed that humans drink milk from all kinds of animals, yet one of the world's most common farm animals never seems to make the list? Walk into almost any supermarket, and you'll find shelves filled with cow's milk. Depending on where you live, there might also be goat's milk, sheep's milk, buffalo milk, or even camel milk. But there is one bottle you'll almost certainly never see: pig milk. That feels surprisingly strange once you notice it. Pigs live almost everywhere humans do. They have been raised alongside us for thousands of years. They provide one of the world's most popular meats. Like every other mammal, they produce milk to feed their young. So why doesn't anyone drink it? The first answer that comes to mind is usually the wrong one. Maybe pig milk is poisonous. It isn't. Maybe it tastes so terrible that nobody could drink it. There isn't much evidence for that either. Maybe pigs simply don't produce enough milk. That doesn't seem right. A mother pig can successfully feed an entire litter of hungry piglets, sometimes more than 10 at once. The milk is real. The piglets depend on it. So where did it go? Why has it never reached your breakfast table? The strange part is that this question has followed humans for thousands of years without most people ever asking it. We accepted cow's milk as normal long before we wondered why pig milk never became an option. Normal has a funny way of hiding better questions. Imagine waking up in a small farming village nearly 10,000 years ago. The sun hasn't climbed above the hills yet. Smoke rises from a few simple homes. A farmer walks across damp ground while the rest of the village is still asleep. His family owns only a handful of animals: a few sheep, several pigs, a small group of cattle. Every one of them eats. Every one of them takes work. Every one of them has to earn its place. The farmer isn't thinking about creating history. He's thinking about surviving the winter. If one animal gives more than it takes, he keeps it. If another doesn't, he won't. Simple decisions like that were repeated by millions of families over thousands of years. Without realizing it, they slowly decided which animals would shape human civilization. And somehow, pig milk never survived those decisions. At first, that sounds like biology, as if pigs were simply the wrong animal. But history rarely works that neatly. Sometimes an idea disappears, not because it's impossible, but because something else quietly wins first. And that's exactly what happened to pig milk. Or at least, that's what most people assume. Because the real reason pig milk disappeared is even stranger than that. If pig milk isn't poisonous, then maybe the problem starts long before anyone picks up a bucket. Maybe the real problem is simply raising pigs in the first place. That idea sounds much more convincing. Imagine you're the same farmer from thousands of years ago. Winter is approaching. Food is running low. Every animal on your farm is waiting to be fed. Your pigs rush toward anything they can find: fallen fruit, nuts, roots, kitchen scraps, grain. Almost every bite they want is something your own family could eat. Now, picture your children standing nearby. The basket in your hands won't feed everyone. Every handful you pour into the pig's trough is a handful that won't end up on your family's table. Suddenly, pig milk doesn't seem like a very good bargain. Unlike pigs, cattle spend much of their day eating grass. To humans, grass is almost useless as food. But inside a cow's stomach, billions of microbes slowly break those tough plants into usable energy. It's one of the reasons cattle can thrive on land where people couldn't grow enough food for themselves. That creates an interesting question. If one animal eats what you can't, and another eats what you need, which one would you keep? For thousands of years, farmers answered that question with their actions, again and again, generation after generation. At first glance, this feels like the mystery has been solved. Pig milk never became popular because pigs competed with humans for food. Case closed. Except, history has a habit of refusing simple answers. Because even today, when many farms can produce enormous amounts of animal feed, pig milk is still almost impossible to find. If food competition were the only problem, modern farming should have solved it long ago. But it didn't. That means something else is hiding beneath the surface. Here's another clue. Over the years, a handful of researchers, farmers, and chefs have experimented with pig milk simply to answer the obvious question: can it be done? The answer is yes. People have collected pig milk before. People have even tasted it. So the milk itself was never impossible. That discovery only makes the mystery deeper. If pigs can produce milk, if humans can drink it, and if modern technology can overcome many farming challenges, why did pig milk still fail to become an everyday food? Imagine spending millions of dollars building the world's first pig dairy. You have healthy animals, modern equipment, experienced workers, unlimited funding. It sounds like success is only a matter of time. Instead, the entire business begins falling apart almost immediately. Not because the milk is bad, not because customers refuse to buy it, but because every single day the pigs keep doing exactly what evolution designed them to do. And that turns out to be a much bigger obstacle than anyone expected. Imagine walking into that pig dairy on its very first morning. The workers are ready, the equipment is spotless, the animals are healthy, everything looks perfect. Then, the first mother pig lies down to feed her piglets. For a few brief moments, the piglets nurse as fast as they can. Then it's over. The milk stops flowing. Researchers who study pig nursing behavior have found that a sow releases her milk in very short letdown periods. The piglets instinctively gather, feed intensely, and finish almost as quickly as they started. Miss that short window, and there is very little milk left to collect. Now, imagine repeating that process with hundreds of animals, every day. Suddenly, the challenge isn't producing milk, it's catching it. A dairy cow behaves very differently. Cows release milk in a way that can be managed far more easily by farmers. And over centuries, selective breeding made that process even more productive. They gradually became animals that fit regular milking. Pigs never followed that path. Not because they couldn't produce milk, because nobody had a practical reason to breed them for that purpose. That difference sounds small. It changed everything. A farmer doesn't build a dairy around what is merely possible. A farmer builds it around what is practical. Pig milk was always fighting against time, against biology, against the natural rhythm between a mother pig and her litter. Even with modern technology, collecting enough milk from pigs remains far more difficult than collecting it from traditional dairy animals. At this point, the mystery finally seems solved. Pig milk never reached your breakfast table because pigs are simply too difficult to milk. Right? Not quite. That explanation is only half the story. After all, humans have overcome enormous biological challenges before. We've built machines that harvest tiny grains from vast fields. We've bred fruits that barely resemble their wild ancestors. We've transformed wolves into hundreds of dog breeds. If pig milk had been valuable enough, history suggests humans would have found ways to improve the process. So why didn't they? Why did nobody spend centuries turning pigs into better dairy animals? The answer has nothing to do with milk anymore. It has everything to do with the choices humans were already making long before the first bucket was ever placed beneath a pig. And those choices quietly decided the future of pig milk thousands of years before anyone realized what had happened. By now, the question has completely changed. It was never, can humans drink pig milk? The answer to that is surprisingly simple. Yes, they can. The real question was always this: why did humans never build a world where drinking pig milk actually made sense? The answer wasn't hidden inside the pig. It was hidden inside the farming system. Long before science explained genetics or evolution, farmers were already making thousands of practical decisions. They kept the animals that solved the most problems and gradually stopped investing in the ones that solved fewer. Pig milk was one of those forgotten possibilities. Every generation made the same calculation. Pigs were excellent at producing meat. They grew quickly. They reproduced efficiently. That alone made them incredibly valuable. Trying to turn them into dairy animals offered very little in return. At the same time, cattle kept becoming more useful. They could feed on grass that humans couldn't digest. In many societies, they provided manure for crops and, in some regions, labor for farming as well as meat and milk. As dairy practices spread, farmers repeatedly selected cattle that were calmer and produced more milk, gradually improving them through selective breeding. Every improvement made cattle even more attractive. And every improvement gave people one less reason to invest in pig milk. That is the hidden system. Pig milk didn't lose because it was dangerous. It didn't lose because it tasted bad. It didn't even lose because collecting it was impossible. Pig milk disappeared because another system became more efficient first. Once an entire civilization had been built around cattle as reliable dairy animals, there was almost no reason to start over with pigs. History has a strange way of working like that. The best idea doesn't always win. The idea that fits the system usually does. That is why the title of this story is slightly misleading. Humans don't avoid pig milk. Most people simply never have a chance to drink it. Not because nature forbids it, but because thousands of years of farming quietly pushed it out of everyday life before it ever had the opportunity to become normal. The next time you pour a glass of milk, you're looking at far more than a drink. You're looking at thousands of years of trial and error, millions of ordinary farming decisions. generations of selective breeding, and a farming system that slowly chose one path while leaving countless others behind, including pig milk. So the real answer to why don't humans drink pig milk isn't because pigs don't make milk. They do. It isn't. Because pig milk is poisonous. It isn't. It's because history never found a good reason to put pig milk into your glass. And once one system became the standard, almost every alternative quietly disappeared. If one ordinary glass of milk can hide a story like this, imagine how many other everyday things around you exist because of invisible decisions made thousands of years ago. Subscribe if you're curious about the hidden systems behind ordinary life, because the next question you never thought to ask might completely change the way you see the world.